You matter. And completing the 2020 census matters to Decatur and Macon County. The 2020 census is critical for our community to receive the funding that's needed for job training, better schools, better health care, and services such as food assistance and housing. It's easy and it just takes a few minutes to complete. Go to the 2020census.gov, fill out the 2020 census, and make your voice heard today. Welcome to Speak Up, Speak Out, a weekly online forum where we discuss issues facing our community and working towards ways to enact real change. I'm your moderator, Terrence Tat Taylor, radio personality, DJ on Hot 105.5, essential skills instructor with the Enrichment Program at Richland Community College, and the director here at the Community Foundation of Macon County, the director of community investment. Topics weekly on Speak Up, Speak Out will include everything from community action, mental health, family communication, and more. And you can speak up and speak out along with us every Saturday on our Hot 105.5 Facebook page, as well as nowdecatur.com. I want to take a second to thank, of course, those who make this forum possible each week. That's Crossing Healthcare, the Community Foundation of Macon County, United Way of Decatur and Mid-Illinois, Neuhoff Media, and our great city of Decatur. You, the audience, are invited to participate as well. We want you to speak up and speak out. Submit your questions to speakoutdecatur@gmail.com. That's speakoutdecatur@gmail.com. Or direct message myself on the Hot 105.5 Facebook page. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce this week's panel, the fabulous Dr. Dana Ray, Medical Director at Crossing Healthcare, and Macon County Sheriff, the one and only Tony Chubby Brown. Today's topic is the importance of masking up, wearing your mask, especially within the Black community. Let's start it off. Ladies first, Dr. Dana Ray.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for being here.
Every time you ask me to do something, so thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, to be associated with Sheriff Brown is always a privilege. So this is a good day. So the topic that we're talking about, as you stated, is wearing masks. We talked about the COVID cases that's taking place in Macon County right now. We're not even talking about nationwide, but just in Macon County. And I did pull the Macon County website numbers. And so right now in Macon County, there were confirmed 675 cases so far. So since the beginning of the pandemic, and we've been tracking numbers, 675 confirmed cases in Macon County. The thing that is trending currently that is concerning, which is why you've holding this forum this week, is that of the individuals who are currently testing positive, 38% of those are African Americans. And African Americans does not make up 38% of the population here in Macon County. It's closer to 17, 18%, as far as according to our last census. And so it's concerning because nationwide, we have seen that the disparities in the number of cases for African Americans has been greater than other ethnic groups. African Americans and Latino Americans it is quite high in those populations. And it actually shows how there are some social determinants of health, which is causing this health disparity. And that's one of the conversations we had previously on Speak Up, Speak Out. And so this highlights that discrepancy in the health outcomes and, again, social determinants of health as it relates to the African American community. There are quite a few reasons why this can occur. Again, the social determinants of health, it looks at where you live at. So it highlights that where you live affects what type of health care you have. It looks at the school system. It looks at the legal implications. It looks at grocery stores, education. All of those things play a factor. So it's not just about race, but it's about all those things that determine whether or not you have appropriate health outcomes. And so COVID is highlighting that right now. Dr. Fauci even talked about that nationwide, about how the social determinants of health is playing out when it comes to COVID. And during this conversation, we can talk about a lot of those different things that are playing a factor in that. So.
Thank you, Doctor. And Sheriff Tony, let me get your perspective with law enforcement with dealing with how COVID is affecting our community and the Black community, especially during this time.
I believe, as far as like with the numbers, as far as that Dr. Ray had just presented, data doesn't lie as far as what's going on within our communities. And we're talking about as far as access to healthcare and some of the other social inadequacies that we actually experience are the cause of a lot of that. But at the end of the day, we just need to realize that we're going to be the best caregiver for our own health. And we need to make sure that we abide by as far as trying to keep ourselves, safe. And that as far as making sure as far as wearing the mask and actually the social distancing or what have you. And just look at it as everybody actually, has the virus. I've definitely closed myself off to a lot of being out in the public in a lot of different places, especially not being masked up. So me and my dogs have gotten very, very acquainted, even more so with one another. But I just want people to realize, as far as with the law enforcement aspect, that we want to make sure that everyone is safe as well as our employees, because we have to go back home to our families, and it's kind of, we don't want to put them at risk as well as the community too. So I think it's going to take all of our participation and our due diligence to make sure that we keep each other safe, because it's an old African proverb that takes a village. This is definitely one where it takes a village for all of us to make sure that every last one of us is safe, and we're doing our due diligence to make sure that is actually being taken place.
And you're absolutely right about that. And for us to keep each other safe, all it takes is one to come into, who's positive, to come into your workplace, and then it shuts down everything. But if we look at it as we mask up for each other, because we're in this together.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the things that I want to highlight is that, there are things that we can do to prevent the spread. I mean, it's one thing to focus on the problem and how it's affecting the African American community, but it's another to then talk about the solutions. And so there are solutions to this. Number one is wearing a mask. And so, and there are a lot of concerns about what type of mask. So we know that the best type of mask to wear is the N95, because it is designed to prevent the spread of respiratory droplets. Yes, just like that one. But there are some N95 masks that are made to, that actually will fit your face appropriately so that you will not spread it. And that is the one that is most highly used by medical professionals, or most widely used by medical professionals, especially those who are dealing with individuals or patients who are known COVID positive and will require special procedures to decrease the spread of those respiratory droplets. The next is the surgical mask, which is really good. And again, it is designed to prevent the spread of respiratory droplets, and it is most widely used by medical professionals. And that is used in a lower, in a context where there's going to be lower incidence of spread of COVID. And so that you'll find when you just go to a regular doctor's office for your doctor appointment, you're going to see that those staff are going to be wearing surgical masks. Next, you have the cloth mask. And with the cloth mask, there's a wide degree of variability as far as how good it is at spreading or decreasing the spread of COVID-19. So you're going to want something that is a little bit thicker. And if it's a cloth mask that is thick, then the possibility of it being uncomfortable to wear is going to be increased. But again, we're talking about overall safety for you and for others that you're coming in contact with. So you want one that is 2 to 3 layers in thickness, something that you can't easily see through. Some of the masks that have been handed out that is a single layer, where you can still see the person's lips and teeth and all of that, is not doing a very good job of decreasing the spread of COVID, and really individuals should try something a little different. Some of the other studies that have been recently done has looked at the handkerchiefs and other types of devices that people have been using, the scarves that people have been using. And again, because most of those are single layer, they're not doing a real adequate job of preventing the spread of COVID. Now, when you look at the African American community and resources available and the, you know, the disposable income on spending on facial masks and all that other stuff, you know, we're not likely to go out and spend quite a bit of money on getting some of the better quality masks. And so that could be part of the factors that's contributing to the increase or the uptick of COVID cases in the African American community. You know, I don't want to say that it's one single thing. I believe it is multifactorial. There's a number of things that's taken place that's causing the spread, but the quality of the mask is one of those factors. And I know that that's in part of the reason why Sheriff Brown is on, is to talk about how the perception of, you know, an African American male walking around with the mask on, as far as being labeled or being assumed that they may have committed a crime or any of those other factors, how that play in the psyche of African American males wearing masks in general.
Yeah, if you could speak to that, Sheriff, especially with as a young Black male, and some of the young Black males that I've spoken to, that is a real fear, hesitation of, well, I'm already going to be perceived as, you know, a danger, especially if I put this mask on. Can you speak to that, drawing police attention or having that misconception?
That is definitely, especially now, that's definitely a misperception. We're in a global pandemic, so it's not like it's something just, you know, in one area, not in others. It's everywhere. So therefore, that in itself lends to the not credible, you know, perception of, you know, you're being labeled that because you have to have a mask on. Everyone's, you know, wanting to we want everyone to have a mask in order to, you know, protect themselves as well as others. So that in itself, to me, has no credibility in my perception of that, and especially being in the head of an agency as far as with law enforcement, because of what we're actually dealing with now. So that kind of needs to go out the window as far as I'm concerned. And then you have some people look at it because it's not the Gucci thing to do or the cool thing to have that. You can, you know, if you're able to, I mean, there's all kinds of different masks out there with, you know, different things, so different styles. So, I mean, whatever your persona is, you know, go for it. I mean, but to me, if this is a fashion statement, let it be a fashion statement. But the whole thing is make sure that you're going to keep yourself safe and as well as others. And if you're not just going to wear it just for yourself, your own safety, realize you're doing it for others as well. So that in itself, that information as far as being labeled a certain way because you have to have the mask on, you got to realize we're in a global pandemic, and this is something that everyone is asked to do. To keep everyone safe and to, you know, help stop the spread.
And to be honest, I feel like you, Sheriff. I don't think it's because young Black males feel like they're going to be targeted because it's a global pandemic. I think it's more so they don't see the severity of not wearing it. Like you said, it's not about you. It's about protecting your grandma, your grandpa, those with pre-existing illnesses. So trying to change their mindset of, yeah, it may not be the coolest thing. You can get your mask designer if you would like, but it's more so of protecting your loved ones. And I think that once again, the misconception or the misperception of young people, even if they get it, it's not fatal, is a misconception. Am I right? Doctor?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, even when we look at the numbers here in Macon County, the highest percentage of individuals who are testing positive are in that 20 to 50 range. And so this is affecting everyone. The other thing that I wanted to bring up too is that, part of the thing that makes it difficult is that we are a very social group of people. There's always those barbecues, those get-togethers, birthday parties,
Yeah.
all these
Cookout,
things. I mean,
all
and
of
it's a
that.
huge family gathering. And we're
Mhm.
okay, it's family, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I know them. But again, the groups that are getting together are, just as I talked about, are those younger individuals. And these are younger individuals who aren't necessarily thinking that it can happen to me, are contracting it and then are spreading it to our older individuals. And unfortunately, we have even people who are younger who are dying from this.
Yeah.
And it's happening here. It's not just in Chicago or New York or Louisiana or any of those other places. It's happening in our own community. I think the fact that we have an uptick in numbers in our community is making people a little bit more fearful and a little bit more cognizant of the fact that they do need to wear the mask, and I'm not immune to contracting COVID.
Yeah, we have to get out especially with the young people, get out your head of, well, I know it happens, but it's not going to happen to me. That's how I felt being a teen parent. Okay, like I know people have kids at a age, but that'll never happen to me. Bam, what happened? It happened to me. But changing that mindset of this, we're all in this together, not just for yourself. Just a conversation I have with my kids, especially around this time of the young people, and they, like you said, the graduation celebrations and stuff like that. And like you said, we're like, well, I'm around family, that should be cool, but you don't know where your family's been,
Right.
We talked about this on the last episode of I called it a poverty mindset of what I've personally been seeing on my social media pages of seeing individuals who are taking advantage of these low cost airfare and taking family vacations right now and trips, just because you got a mask on and you think that you're taking the necessary precautions, but they're going to the hot spots, Florida, California, Vegas, Chicago. And then they come back here and it's devastating our community. How do you best do that? By like educating, and what are some of the social pressures that you feel are caused?
Yeah.
Not say that we're not taking it serious, but we're
Yeah. Now
either one.
you keep buffering, and so we're getting bits and pieces of what you're saying, but
I'm sorry.
on when you look at when the surge happened here in Macon County, around July 21st is when we had that peak in cases. And so that's right after 4th of July. That's right after people have taken, some family vacations and all of that. And then, it really, it skyrocketed overnight. I mean, and that's because, we got complacent. You get, COVID fatigue, of doing the social distancing and wearing a mask and doing the hand washing and the hand sanitizers and all of that other stuff. And, we're good at doing something for a short time period. We're not good at doing it for a long time period. That's what COVID has shown us. And so with seeing that uptick right after all of those vacations and the 4th of July parties and all of that other stuff, it shows how social distancing does work, number one, and how we need to continue to do it. And we need to continue to wear the mask. We need to continue to do the hand washing. One of the important features with wearing the mask is, I see people touching a mask and maneuvering a mask, pulling it down and all this other stuff. And it's like, do you not understand? So if you're with someone who is COVID positive, that it's all on the outside of that mask. You have now touched it. You got it all over your hands. And now I'm going to touch my face and I'm going to, adjust my hair and wipe my eyes. And you've just infected yourself. And so it's realizing this, you got to think of it as the outside of this mask is dirty. I do not want to touch the outside of this mask. I don't touch my face because, again, how people contract it is through the mucous membranes. So the mucous membranes are the eyes, the mouth, the nose. That's how you contract it. And so the more mucous membranes I have covered up, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the less likely I'm to get it. And then I don't want to touch an inanimate object such as a doorknob or something like that, and then touch my face because the virus is going to live longer on those surfaces. And so, are gloves the answer? Not necessarily, because you have those dirty gloves and you touch everything.
Yes.
You just are making it easier for you to contract it other ways. And so there's a lot of little things that we need to start doing and doing it on a regular basis and consistently in order to prevent the spread of COVID. And then we can't get tired. So we have to limit the social events. We have to continue to practice social distancing. My son's birthday was a couple of days ago. He got to have one cousin over, and that's the cousin who stays home all the time playing video games and doesn't do much. We couldn't have a big birthday party. We had to sit him down. Look, I'll give you an extra gift. Yeah. You get to pick out, what you get for the next few days.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised. The fact that he get to pick what's for dinner, he was happy with that.
Hey, especially the kids now, as long as they got a Wi-Fi connection, internet, and some food, some snacks, they're good. Okay. You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely right. And that's what we have to continue to promote is don't get tired of doing the right thing or, taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. That's super important.
And Shelby just put on some hand sanitizer.
Look at him. What about it?
I'm good. Hey, I'm doing that.
You were touching them doorknobs. He was like, oh my God.
I thought I tried to do that on the low.
We've seen you. We probably didn't see you, but we've seen you. We've seen you, man. Okay?
Right.
Doing the same thing. Same plan.
Right. You work in a place where you have a lot of people coming in and out.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And you come in contact with a lot of people. And so you do have to be very vigilant about what you do to keep yourself healthy. But not only to keep yourself healthy, but to keep you from getting it and then spreading it to other individuals, because as we stated, you come in contact with a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
So we have to be mindful of those things.
Yes, we definitely have to be extra mindful. Is there any last thoughts that we need to really hit?
Well, one thing I tell people, if they think about others, their loved ones, the grandmas and all that, because if they surround and take the mindset that if something happened to them and it's all just because of them bringing that, put them first. Don't think about yourself if that's a concern or whatever, but think about the others that you love and how you can actually truly affect them and or affect their lives.
Yeah,
when it comes down to it, you might be going to the cemetery and visit them. On Memorial Days and things like that, Mother's and Father's Day. So you keep that at your forefront and your forethought, and maybe you will change as far as your actions that you're actually doing.
Most definitely.
Right.
Dr. Ray.
And I just want to highlight that again, do those measures that you've been hearing about. Wear your mask, keep your hands clean, don't touch your face, use hand sanitizer, and social distance. And so with that, realizing that, you might not be able to do some of the things that you've always enjoyed doing before, but find new things to do. So, there's, a lot of more people riding bikes. There's a lot more people going out and walking on the trails. A wonderful list
yard work
doing outside. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I got a garden this year. Every year I try to get a garden and I fail because I stopped watering the garden because, I get so busy.
Hey, Dr. Ray,
Guess what? This year I have a garden, and it's
Yeah,
working.
what you got in your garden, Dr.
Hey,
Ray?
I need some mustard and some collard greens. Hey, I need some
We need it today, Dr. Ray. We need it today. Okay.
Look, you gonna cook
I got a
them?
sink full of green beans. I'm snapping green beans for the last 2 days.
Get some smoked turkey and put it in. Yeah.
And that's what I be saying all the time. It's so much stuff that can be done, so much self-improvement, so much things you can put off at the house. We've been cleaning it up like crazy. We got a dumpster at the house. We've been throwing stuff. Like, it's so much stuff to do. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Ray.
No,
Sheriff over there.
But again, I just want to emphasize, we just got to get creative, and we got to find different things to do. It's still social and still fun, and is going to be relaxing, but also keeping each other safe.
And staying now with the kids somewhat back in school starting on Monday for DPS students. Let's get focused on this new way of schooling. Like, that's going to take everybody's patience and focus. That's the way school is going to be. So when my daughter be like, but I ain't got nothing it's a bunch of stuff to do. Look at your room. Okay. Clean it. What are you talking
See,
about?
you sounding like your parents now.
I know. Oh man, I'm an adult now.
Dr. Ray, you still ain't asked me about the greens either. I ain't let you get in with that.
No, I thought you tried to play it all. Like,
yeah.
we didn't remember. We remember.
I don't have any greens in my garden. I apologize. Look.
Okay, all right.
It's more a flower garden. That's next year project.
Yes, have it ready. Now, this has been Speak Up, Speak Out, and I want to thank my wonderful panel as always. Thank you both, Dr. Dana Ray and Sheriff Chubby Brown. I want to thank my panel again for joining me. And remember, you can catch Speak Up, Speak Out every Saturday at noon on the Hot 5.5 Facebook page and nowdecatur.com. You can also join in the conversation anytime. Email your questions, thoughts, opinions, topics to speakoutdecatur@gmail.com. That's speakoutdecatur@gmail.com. Just on our Hot 105.5 Facebook page. Thank you to our sponsors again, Crossing Healthcare, the Community Foundation of Macon County, United Way of Decatur and Mid-Illinois, Neuhoff Media, and our great city of Decatur. And last thing before we go, please speak up and continue to be counted. The census is critical for our community to receive the funding that is needed and necessary from everything from job training, better schools, better healthcare, and important services such as food distribution and housing. So make sure you get to 2020census.gov. It only takes 4 minutes to complete 9 easy questions and let your voice be heard. Thank you. God bless.
Every 10 years, the U.S. Census gives communities across America the chance to get the funding they need. But there's a catch. The money is based on counting an accurate number of residents in each state. The fewer people we count, the less money Illinois gets. Illinois has received nearly $60 billion from the federal government based on numbers from the last census. Every person who doesn't fill out the census means less money for Illinois. That's money we could use for new school programs to help our children thrive and succeed, for building new bridges that would help you travel safely on your morning commute, for paving roads and ensuring more reliable public transportation, and for improving our hospitals and clinics so everyone gets the best health care. In Illinois, we deserve our fair share, and it starts with all of us being counted. Visit my2020census.gov or text 987-987 to learn how you can fill out the census today.